Round one, fight!
And second, let me just tell you something, David. When I was out there serving the United States military, and you were a registered Democrat up in Massachusetts, I was all over this country defending your very right to be a Democrat.
Thank you, Mark. It's delightful to have you on stage joining us this evening. For Bob, who's somebody who's been responsible in the business world for a bottom line, he should be ashamed for putting out a proposal that he knows the numbers don't work.
After the way you've handled yourself, turning this campaign into a smear campaign over last week, you say I should be embarrassed? You should be embarrassed, Mr. Stemerman, and you should think before you speak. This guy has bought stocks his entire life. You've never run anything.
That's quite a slam. I own stocks. Yes, most people in this room, that's how we retire. We own stocks. You have people believe that you're some kind of a rebuilder. You haven't worked for GE for 10 years. DFC is a payday lender, which is the business that you ran for the last 3 years. It was fined by millions of dollars for charging interest rates of over 2,000%, engaging in business practices that are illegal in the state of Connecticut. Is that what we need in our next leader? I don't think so.
You know why employee funds like the state of Connecticut are bankrupt right now? Because people like you trade in their stock, living in mansions in Greenwich with thousands of bathrooms, losing money for the people in the pension plans. That's why we are where we are. Because you're proud of your record, David, skimming money off of trading stocks and having pension plans all across the country be bankrupt because of it.
Bob, you may not have remembered, but this is a Republican primary. And in a Republican primary, we actually celebrate success. We don't toss out epithets from a poll-tested claims about disparaging people because they've been successful.
Listen, I'll just remind you, Timmy pulled this commercial where he claimed he cut taxes 2 times when he raised it 7. Can you imagine the taxpayers are paying $25,000 a day for this guy to go out in a football stadium with makeup and lights and cut a new commercial about being a football player?
What would make you want to leave the Republican Party 3 weeks before the 2016 election and become a Democrat and not vote in that election? What would make you not vote in any election in 16 years? What would make you become a Republican 1 month before you announced your candidacy for governor? And exactly what did you find about Chris Dodd appealing when you gave the maximum contribution to his presidential campaign?
So you see how desperate these guys are, right? You know, this guy knows he's last in the polls and I'm leading, so they're going to start slinging money. We don't need another person who's a tax increase person like Mr. Herbst has been in his time in voting.
Why didn't you vote in 16 years? You didn't vote for George Bush, Mitt Romney, John McCain, Donald Trump. Why did you become a Republican 1 month before you announced your candidacy for governor?
You know, Timmy, I know you've never had a real job in your life, but you know, when you work in the corporate sector, you got to get involved on both sides of the aisle.
I would just like to ask Mr. Stefanowski how he expects the people of the state of Connecticut to vote for him when he couldn't be bothered with voting for any of us. The politicians that he complains about, he had a chance to throw out of office and chose not to. Okay. But he did have time to fill out contribution forms to Chris Dodd when he wasn't filling out his absentee ballot.